Hey everybody, Blades of God here from Hammer Bros Gaming, coming at you with the newest installment in our Gears Tactics Immortal Legion Achievement Guide. The Immortal Legion Achievement is tasking us with completing the entire game start to finish without losing a single unit. So if you do, don't worry, you can restart checkpoint or restart the mission. It's not going to affect the achievement unlocking. But in this video, we are going to be covering the Act 2, Chapter 6 side missions. We're going to be doing a Sabotage mission and a Scavenger Run mission. The reason we're running two missions in one video is that they're both fairly short. Scavenger Run only takes about 6 minutes, and I think the Sabotage takes maybe 20-ish minutes, so pretty short for being on the insane difficulty. But I'll still take you through step by step, show you the characters and the tactics that we use to get through this mission. If you're finding this video series helpful, if you find this video helpful, please consider leaving a like on the video. Please consider subscribing to our channel, Hammer Bros Gaming. You can also check us out on Twitch. We stream fairly regularly. Just search for Hammer Bros Gaming. And we also have a Shorts channel on YouTube, which is just Hammer Bros Shorts, or HBG Shorts is what it's called. So feel free to check that out. Quite a few funny clips over there. But yeah, we love to have you on board. I appreciate you taking your time to check out this video. And that's enough gabbing from me. Let's dive into the guide. So we're going to do things in a little bit of a different order this time. Instead of checking our characters and our skills first, we're actually going to look at our mission. We're going to be running the Aldir Scavenger Run. The mission's named is Fearsome Sword, and we're only going to be taking our scout Marcella in. We're going to switch out her lower armor for Ranger Treads to give us +1 movement range and +7 evasion, and we're going to switch out her upper armor for, I believe it's called the Ranger Kit? Yeah, it's Ranger Kit. But we actually have a rare Ranger Kit that gives us a better blitz percentage. So that's going to give us a 40% chance to get an extra action point if we don't shoot in the previous round. I'm just checking here to see if I have any barrels that increase my movement range, because the Scout actually has a barrel for their Nasher that increases their movement range, but we don't have any of those yet. So looking at the skill tree, we have Demolition Expert, Frag Grenade Mastery, Extended Cloak, Proximity Mine, Free Cloak, Stalker, Sprint, and Cloak. Obviously Cloak, Stalker, Free Cloak, and Sprint are the big ones for this mission. But that's it as far as the prep. One thing to note is that this mission modifier is a +20% movement range, so your units will move further on each turn. So let's get into this. Again, this is a little bit of a different map, not one that I was used to seeing, so you're going to see me kind of scouting out around the map a few times, but nothing really new as far as strategies here. We are going to just be moving very fast. We're going to be outrunning the enemies just like we did in our previous Scavenger Run. As I said, in Scavenger Run missions, there's no enemies in the field at this point, so you can use this first turn as a free turn to advance as far as possible. You don't have to worry about being in cover or anything like that. You can see that on our first flight of enemies, we got 2 tickers and 3 grenadiers, which is not great. I've already got one of those grenadiers kind of coming up on this bottleneck of a bridge that I'm using to come across this gap. So not an ideal situation, but it's nothing that we can't handle. It's just a matter of it's not great, because now I need to be concerned about, all right, how far can I make it before that grenadier is going to catch up to me? So instead of waiting to use my cloak, I decide to use cloak on this turn, knowing that I have free cloak, so it'll extend into the next turn. And here what I'm trying to do is maximize the distance I can get out of my moves. So I'm trying to find the furthest point that I can get to with 2 action points, just so I have a better idea of what I want to do with my 3rd action point. Now this case right there is kind of right in the middle of all of the enemies that are on the map, and I'm not going to mess around with trying to get that one. All we have to do is collect 3 cases. There's an optional objective for collecting all 5, but we're not going to be worrying about that in this mission. We just want to get our 3 cases, maybe 4 if we're lucky, and then get out. So we're going to stay cloaked. You can see the enemies are running right by us here, and they're going to advance to where they last saw us on the bridge. So we had another flight of enemies come in on a Reaver. It's 2 snipers and 2 tickers. They really don't go very far because I've been invisible since they've been on the map, and they have no idea where I am. So we got a checkpoint. That's nice. And here we go. This is me just scouting around trying to figure out the best path. I would recommend that when you do scavenger runs, take your time and actually look at where your cases are laid out, because you can sometimes route a better path by planning ahead a little bit rather than just going into this willy-nilly and making it up as you go along. So you can see I'm going to run right past this case because I'm afraid that if I grab it, I'm going to... Well, I will lose my cloak, and I'm going to be too close to the enemies without being able to get into cover. So instead I go for the epic case that's on the bridge. That's my second case, and we're in good shape. We have one more case to go. Here we go. We got another flight of enemies coming in. This time it's just a Cantus and 2 tickers, and the tickers are attempting to go backwards because there's a set of stairs that they're going to try to climb up to cut me off. So, not a big deal. We're not going to waste our time trying to shoot at them. Blitz did not activate this time, but that's okay. We've got 3 action points to use. And you can see, I'm just trying to figure out where the extra cases were, because I knew I only grabbed 2. It says I need to grab 3 more for the optional, but I'm only seeing 2 of the little indicator bubbles pop up on my screen. So I'm using this angle on the camera. I'm kind of rotating my camera around to see how close the enemy is to me, just to assess how far I can move without putting myself in danger. And here you see I'm trying to use sprint. I didn't realize the back of the map was so close, but I decided not to use sprint, and instead I'm going to just come up to the back side of this staircase and take cover, or half cover, behind this little pillar thing. Again, the Cantus isn't super aggressive. Sometimes they are, but usually they're not. So I don't need to worry about him rushing me and trying to take shots at me. Instead, all I really need to worry about right now are those tickers chasing me. You just saw on the screen when the Nemesis dropped, the little captioning came up saying frustrated grunt. Just as a reminder, if you're still working towards your seriously tactical and grubpocalypse achievements in this game, the kills that you get, or the kills that occur in a mission from the Nemesis, do count towards your total. So it's not much, but it's a little bit that will help. So any of the tickers, drones, Cantus, whatever that get blown up by these Nemesis actually count towards your kill total. So, you know, yay, a little bit of extra something. So anyway, we just picked up our 3rd case. That is the last one we're going to grab, so now it's just a matter of making sure that I'm not going to get snuck up on by a ticker. I can see right now that they're plenty far away. The only issue would be is if that ticker on the right staircase decided to rush into the extraction zone. But that doesn't end up happening. You can see the Cantus toughened one of the tickers, who's heading now up that right staircase instead of the left. But again, it's not a problem because we're going to make it into the extraction point, and we're going to wrap up this mission. Oh, we lost a case, but that's okay. We weren't going to capture that one anyway, and it was just a rare case, not an epic. So, Blitz activated. I have 4 action points, but I only need 2 to make it to the extraction zone, and we are done. Pretty straightforward, pretty quick. Whole mission took, I think, less than 6 minutes. That's one thing I do love about these Scavenger Run missions, is that later in the game, when you're getting, I don't want to say bored, but frustrated of having to run all of these side missions, the Scavenger Run missions really help move things along quickly. Looking at the cases that we got the Epic Lancer mod for the Drum Mag, we got an Impact Barrel with Disrupt for the Mulcher, and then we got a Rare mod that I didn't even look at because we're moving into Epic mods, so Rare is kind of not needed, or not necessary. Unfortunately, the Drum Mag with 3 ammo isn't really worthwhile for Gabe, so I'm going to leave that alone. Just like the Light Barrel with Swift, a 15% chance to receive an action point when you take a shot isn't really worth it over an additional 30 damage, so Michaela's long shot will stay just the same. And then looking at my most advanced heavy, I can see, just checking out the skill tree, Ultra Shot, Heat Up 2, Reckless 2, Enhanced Anchor, and Anchor. That's not a bad setup. I usually like running Wolf just because he's one of the first characters, or him and Marcella are the first 2 characters you get, but he's a little underleveled right now, so we're going to actually swap out our gear with Wolf, and we're going to now make this heavy my primary heavy. So I'm going to take all the good stuff off of him, including these precision adapters. We're going to give him the power barrel or the impact barrel with plus 20 damage and disrupt. So I didn't catch what his nickname was. Sandbag Holmes. Holmes. All right. For gear, we're going to throw on. Let's see. We're going to throw on. I think it's Onyx Shell. I think I have an advanced Onyx Shell that I give him, but I can't remember. It might be the Delta Kit. I know it's not any of the UIR regulators because that's for Marcella. And it's not the Veteran Armor because that's for Sid. So I think I come back up and we end up giving him... I really think it's the Onyx Shell. Or do we just leave him with the Cadet? Nope, we leave him with the Cadet plate for the stabilizers. Okay, that's fine. That works. He's wearing the Onyx Greaves, which gives him double down, which means every shot gains additional damage, or additional percentage of damage. So that's fine. We're going to leave him with that. And then we want to we're going to steal the UIR regulator from him eventually for Marcella. Because we want her, again, she's our go-to grenade expert. So we want to give her every advantage we can with grenades. Unfortunately, she's traveling since I used her in the last mission. So we can't change out her gear right now. And you can see here, I'm just looking at what we have for possible recruits, looking at their skills. And I'm not seeing anything that really, you know, overly excites me, but nothing too bad either. You could definitely swap out some of your units if you wanted to. So now we're ready to move on to our second mission. We're going to be doing the Broken Fury Vazgar Sabotage mission. And we're going to take all three of our primary characters, Sid, Gabe, and Michaela, and then as for the fourth unit, we're going to be throwing on, I think I end up taking Who? Or do I take the Scout? I take a Scout, okay. So, I take the Scout, and I'm going to get him kind of kitted up, so to speak, with the second best stuff, since I don't want to take any of the best stuff away from Marcelo, who's our primary Scout. So I think I end up leaving most of his gear as is, and I do, and we're off into the mission. I realized that I didn't show you guys what they had for skills, but in our last video we had all of the skills on display except for our random, so I apologize for that, but it's nothing, I don't think it'll be anything too game-changing, and if it is, I will definitely point it out when I use those skills. So here we go. Our first step is we got to make it to the bridge, raise the bridge, and clear out all of the hostiles who are in the way. There's a lot of enemies to deal with here. We end up facing a Theron guard in the second half of the mission, but this first half, I remember when I was recording this footage, I thought, man, the enemies are they just keep coming in this first part. So we got a bit of a haul to get through the first half of these enemies. But what we're going to do is we're going to put Michaela on the high ground. That's the best available high ground that we have. It doesn't afford us a great angle going towards our objective, but it's better than nothing. For now, I'm going to put Gabe behind the full cover right behind Michaela, and then I'm going to advance Sid up as far as I can to try to get him on the corner behind this full cover, which, again, I'm using that trick of extend your individual action moves to their max, and you'll actually gain a little bit more because they slide into cover. So if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, you could see when I was trying to move Sid, I couldn't make it all the way to the full cover, but when I went a distance that used the 2 action points and put him in cover, it actually gave him a little bit further distance, and then on the third move I was able to reach that full cover, because at the end of your move, if you're near cover, your unit will actually do a cover slide and get behind the cover. I just said cover a lot, I'm sorry. But it works, and once you're familiar with the game, you'll definitely pick up on that mechanic by yourself. That sniper just nearly made me restart. Sid took that bullet like a champ, but instead of pinning, the sniper decided, no, I'm just going to ruin his day. But now we're going to go to work. It's our turn. We're back on, we're using Michaela with her long shot to really do some damage here. We downed 2 of the snipers, which is great because I really hate dealing with snipers on Insane. We're going to move up our scout and throw this frag as far back as we can to try to do as much damage as we can to those 2 snipers hiding around the corner. Unfortunately, it's not enough to kill either one of them. However, it damages them severely. So even I think one of them would definitely die due to a snub, and the other one, if it was a crit snub, it would die. But we're going to move Sid up, and he has a perfect spot to throw this grenade to actually take all 3 of these weakened enemies out. So that's awesome. We just took 3 enemies off the board with that 1 grenade. Michaela has 1 shot left. It says that Sid is in the way. I don't like risking that because I have seen friendly fire happen before, and I'm not going to lose a unit to friendly fire. That is just stupid. So if you see that pop up where it says target is obstructed, make sure you're checking. If it's an enemy that's obstructing your shot, fine. Go ahead and shoot because you're still going to hit an enemy. If it's an ally, you got to weigh your risks. Like, you can see that Sid is right in the way. That little red danger symbol popped up over his head, meaning, hey, there's a chance you're going to hit him instead. So it wasn't worth it to me. I decided to reload with Michaela instead so I have a full clip and end my turn. You can see all that we have left pretty much, I think, is tickers. We've got this 1 DBNO, down but not out, sniper drone. We're going to use Sid to take that one off the board and give everyone an additional action point. And at this point, yeah, you can see there's 5 tickers who are in various locations kind of around the objective. So I'm going to have Sid fall back. And the reason I'm doing this instead of pushing is that there's several avenues that these tickers can take to get up to us. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up Overwatch barriers or Overwatch cones to try to cut off their routes of advance as much as possible. And hopefully focus and coordinate fire enough that they won't be able to get through. Eventually, over to the top left of that screen, or of the screen, you can see that the fog of war is still covering the battlefield. And I actually end up, I think on either this turn or the next turn, having a couple of tickers sneak around that side. Yeah, it was on this turn that I wasn't aware of. So I'm actually getting flanked by tickers right now. Not the biggest threat, but still something that we're going to have to deal with. I did waste a turn moving Sid up to grab that case because my hubris said, ooh, a shiny case, and I have to get it before, you know, I don't know, before somebody else did. I know that nothing else is going to grab it, but still. Right now we're just going to continue to use the Overwatch on the northern, I don't know which one to call it, on the eastern alleyway to the north, using the top of the screen as the northern orientation. I know that I have several tickers up there, and I'm hoping to draw them down into the field of fire, into our Overwatch shots. And then I'm going to use Michaela on her high ground to try to take out this ticker. And then something weird happened right here. So I got a glitch where I shoot at that ticker 2 times, and he does not advance. Normally when you shoot at a ticker, if you miss, or even if you hit them, they advance on you. But for whatever reason, this one decided not to. So we had to wait until it was the ticker's turn, the enemy's turn to move up. And now I have to be very careful about who I use to shoot at these tickers, because I don't want to accidentally advance them so far that they're going to blow up or be close enough to detonate near one of our allies. So this seems like a little bit of overkill, but we're going to be using a frag grenade. Take that ticker off the map because we really don't want them getting close enough to do any damage to us. 1 shot from a ticker 99% of the time means you're going to be dead. So you can see right now, I know that I'm far enough away with Gabe that ticker isn't going to cover that much distance, and it also lured him out so Michaela could get a shot on him. 100% hit chance, and kaboom, ticker is off the board. We're running double down with Michaela. You can see that popped up, plus active reload. So the active reload skill says that when you reload an empty gun, you get a 50% damage boost for 2 turns or until you reload again. And then double down means every time you shoot, you get an additional 5% damage, which can stack 3 times up to 15% with the current rarity of the greaves that I'm using. So in total, on my 3rd shot, if I active reload and then take 3 shots, you're looking at 65% increased damage, not counting your critical damage. So that's quite a bit. And like I said in previous videos, you can really kit out these snipers to do a lot of damage per turn, especially once you have the chain shot, the ultimate shot ability. Your fast finger skill gives you additional action points. There's a lot you can do to make the sniper a really OP unit. So here we go. We're back onto our turn. I thought that I had cleared out all the enemies at this point, but there was still 1 ticker hiding in the objective itself. So we're going to advance some of these units up. Gabe is a little bit close, but he has 0 action points, so I'm just going to have to roll with that and run that as a risk. But to try to mitigate that risk, I'm going to overwatch as much as I can to try to prevent that ticker from coming down and potentially blowing Gabe up. That ticker is the last enemy on this first half of the map. So once he's gone, we're going to be moving our units up into the objective. But you can see that ticker, he didn't even move on his turn. So either the unit itself is glitched or bugged at the moment, or, you know, it's just decided that where it was hiding was the best spot for it. Whatever the case is, I use my my snub pistol to advance the unit, and then I'm going to do something kind of unique here. There is no way that this won't fail. I threw my proximity mine, and now I'm going to shoot at it. So there was three things that could have happened in that instance. Either A, the proximity mine would be set right next to the ticker, and I knew that the proximity mine detonating would be enough to kill it. So this is sort of a more advanced strategy, but the Gnasher is notoriously inaccurate in this game. So what I did by throwing that proximity mine next to the ticker was ensure that it was going to die, because like I said, one of three things would happen. With the proximity mine set, I could shoot the Gnasher, and either A, the Gnasher would kill the ticker, and that would be the end of it. B, the shot could hit the ticker and not kill it, causing the ticker to advance on my unit and then detonating the proximity mine, which would kill the ticker. Or C, the blast from the Gnasher would miss completely, causing the ticker to move, triggering the proximity mine and killing the ticker. So no matter what happened in that case, the ticker was going to die, and that's just kind of a trick that you can use when you need to be doubly sure that something isn't going to make it to the next turn. Obviously, it may not work on some of your tougher units like the Theron Guards, the Boomers, or the Grenadiers, but even if you're working with something like a standard drone or a Wretch, they may not move, but if you have Disrupt on your gun and you can hit them, or if you're using a heavy unit or a scout with the Gnasher, odds are if you're that close and you hit them, they will move, and when they move, they detonate that proximity mine. So that'll be the end of the unit. So anyway, we've made it now to the halfway point of the mission. We got the bridge raised. Now we're advancing across the bridge. I don't really care for this setup as far as the map itself. There's a lot of cover, which is good, but it also means that the enemy is able to use these angles to close on my units, and that's not so good. We've got 3 snipers. We've got 4 wretches. Oh, I'm sorry, 4 snipers. 4 snipers, 4 wretches, and a Theron Guard. And now the problem with that Theron Guard is that he has a very long reach with that torque bow, and he can shoot over cover at you, and that makes it very difficult to close in on these enemies without risking getting blown up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put Michaela again on the high ground on this little raised platform. It doesn't look like much, but it's just enough to give us that height advantage, so we increase our hit chance and our critical chance. I'm then going to use Empower from Gabe to give her one more action point, because my chain shot, my ultimate shot, and my fast finger skill are available. So by using chain shot, I just gained myself 2 additional action points. I'm going to shoot again, and that's a crit on that sniper and takes him off the map. So now we're down to 3 snipers, 4 wretches, and a Theron Guard. Instead of shooting or moving, I decide to reload, so I have a full clip to start my next round, my next turn, which is never a bad thing. If you're not sure what to do and you realize that you have, you're in a safe place but you don't really have an advantageous move, it's never a bad idea just to reload your gun if you're not at full capacity. You don't know what the enemies are going to do in the next turn, and having a fully loaded weapon is never a bad thing. So if you feel like you're wasting a turn, you're not. You're simply waiting on the enemy to move to present some new opportunities for tactical advancement. So here we go. We can see we've got 5 wretches. Our 5 wretches are advancing on us because, again, the AI wretch is very simplistic. It says the enemy, which would be us, is here. We're here. How do you get from point A to point B the quickest? Straight line. And that's pretty much what they do, is they'll stick to cover a little bit, but essentially these wretches are going to barrel at us in a straight line, so you can kind of plan accordingly when it comes to setting up your overwatches. You can see I didn't set up any overwatches on my last turn, and that's simply because with the snipers out, I don't want to risk having a unit just standing there in Overwatch where he can get sniped. So, you can see we're going to work here with Michaela. We took one of the wretches off the board, and now I'm trying to figure out the best way to close the gap on these snipers without presenting myself as an easy target, which is not an easy thing to do. And I'm checking my skills right now, and I realize I pulled up Michaela, not who. I think his name's Who. No, that's Damian Hunter Key. Who was the heavy, that's right. So we get Demolition Expert, Extended Cloak, and Stalker. Now, Extended Cloak was the one that I was really concerned about because I wanted to be able to cloak and then move up on my next turn and kind of do some damage. I was hoping that I had free cloak unlocked with him, but because he was a recruit and I didn't choose his skills, we just have to work with what we have, and he didn't have free cloak. So I'm going to move Sid and Gabe up kind of the far side of this map, and the reason I'm doing this, again, I want to close in on these snipers, but I don't want to make it so easy for them that I'm just going to be out in the open, and I definitely want to stay away from that Theron guard. Again, his reach is unbelievably long with that torque bow, so don't underestimate it. And again, there's no need to rush right now. We're not going to get hit with reinforcements, so you don't need to push up. There's no kill timer or anything on hostages, so just take your time and let the enemies come to you as best as you can. And right here, we can see we've got one sniper who decided to pin Sid. Not a big deal because my scout is actually close enough that I can try to use my proximity mine, and then I'm going to use the old proximity mine frag grenade trick, which says, okay, you threw a proximity mine, now you're going to detonate it using a frag grenade, so you're actually going to get 2 blasts for 1. The first blast being the frag grenade and the second blast being the proximity mine, which should take quite a few units off the board. Unfortunately, because of the cover that they were in, it severely damaged 2 units and only killed 1, but still not a huge problem. We did some damage, and like I said, we took 1 unit off the board completely. So we're in good shape with that move. I'm pretty happy with how that worked out. It could have been better, but, you know, it could have been a lot worse, too. So I was looking to try to find a way to get my scout out of there. Couldn't really find any good cover to get behind, so instead I'm just going to go to work thinning out the numbers of the opposition. We use Michaela's grenade to take out a wretch and one of the heavily damaged snipers. And now we reloaded. We're down to one action point, but we have the ultimate shot skill. It's going to completely reload my action points, which gives me 3 more AP. And I'm going to slide over here and just continue to go to work on these wretches with Michaela. She also has run and gun available, which means when she moves, she gets an additional damage boost. So you've got to think, I reloaded, which was 50%, run and gun was 50%, and then double down is 5% per shot up to 15. So I'm pretty sure in that turn my final shot had an additional 115% damage, and that's, again, not counting any critical hits. So just a little bit more of a testament to how OP the sniper units can become if they're played right and if they have the right skills. So here we go. Now we moved Sid up, and Sid has this frag grenade ready. And you could see I was trying to select Sid, and I almost blew him up using Gabe's frag grenade. But he's close enough that we're going to use his frag grenade to take this other sniper off the board. And that's going to bring us all the way down to just 1 enemy left, and that's that pesky Theron guard who's still camped out way back in the back of the map. I'm going to move Gabe over a little bit. I just noticed as I was playing that I didn't get that loot crate or supply crate to the top left of the screen, so I'm going to send a unit over there on the next turn to grab that. And again, we're kind of slow playing it just a little bit because I want to make sure that I know where that Theron guard is going to commit to going. I'm not going to risk running up and potentially putting my units in harm's way unless they're behind full cover. So you can see I'm moving Sid up. I really want to go get that epic case, but it's going to put me out, you know, kind of leave Sid out in the wind, so to speak, with no cover and no support. So instead what we're going to do is we're going to move up just a little bit and then plan on grabbing that case on the next turn. And we're going to hope that the Theron guard is going to advance in a way that we'll be able to better anticipate his future moves. So right there, he came down the stairs on that last turn, and now he's on the floor level or the ground level with us. And what I'm trying to do is work out if I can get a retro charge on that Theron guard after grabbing the case. I decide I can't really do that, so we're going to have to figure out something else. I'm just testing right here, see if I can get around the corner, and I can't. So we're going to just put Sid behind full cover as best we can. We've got double full cover right there, so that seems like a safe place to tuck Sid in. And then we've got Gabe, who's close, but he can't quite reach a Theron guard. So this is going to be another good example of how to use this whole extending your moves thing. So right here you can see that's my first move, and I wanted to make sure, okay, so that's, yeah. I wanted to make sure that there was no other options before I committed to this, because I'm realizing that if I try to move Sid or Gabe all the way up to chainsaw this enemy and I can't get to him, then the Theron Guard's going to have a clean shot on me. But I decide to risk it. I say, okay, well, I could try moving all the way over here, putting him in cover, but that's not a great idea because, again, the Theron Guard can shoot over full cover and still hit us. So here we go. I'm going to show you guys. We're going to do our first move here. We're going to extend our second move as far as we can without moving on to our 2 action point distance. So I got 1 action point left, and now you can see because of that slide cover, I was actually able to close the distance and make up the ground that I couldn't cover originally and actually take that Theron Guard off the map. So there we go. That's the end of the mission. You're going to get a cutscene blowing up these emulsion tanks, and that is it. Not too bad. Theron Guards really didn't get to, that Theron Guard didn't get to cause us too much trouble, but they definitely can, so be prepared for that. Once they, depending on the map, they can be a real thorn in your side. So we're going to open up these cases we got. We got a couple, or 1 epic case, 2 epic cases, and 2 rare cases. We'll open them up, show you guys what we got for loot, and that's going to be the end of the video. I thank you guys so much for checking this out. I hope that it's been helping. I hope the whole series has been helping. Stick around. There'll be more guides coming. But until then and until next time, take care of yourselves. And as always, bye-bye. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this, please like and subscribe. You can also check us out on Twitch at Hammer Bros Gaming. I am Blades of God, and until next time, have a great day everyone.